All
So
right, all right.
I have to have conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not going to pick up that quickly. So, welcome everybody. Are we on?
Yes.
Yeah, welcome everybody again to another cold call knockout session. Today we're with Amir Reiter from CloudTask. CloudTask is outsourced sales consulting. We hear Justin Michael talk about you guys all the time, Amir. 70 million in ARR in the last
Yeah.
24 months.
I don't even like the word outsourced or consulting. We build qualified pipelines for people.
Excellent.
That's what we
build
do.
Qualified pipeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
learned a lot about that from you the other day.
I like the end result.
Yeah, most definitely. Appreciate that. We definitely heard, you going, giving Justin a couple of pointers last couple of days ago, and and he ran with some of it, but totally understood where you were coming from. Great feedback.
Let's see if I can execute what I was advising. Let's see what the results of the experiments.
Yeah. Well, how long have you been? This is like your pride and joy, your baby. How long have you been building the company?
About 4.5 years now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Was this a brainchild that came out of another company, or was it?
No, it was more of just like personal pain points. In my 20s, I was a small business owner, and I struggled to get my businesses above $1 million in revenue, based on just it was just very hard to hire and train and manage people. So I thought it was just difficult, and I said, hey, it really should be a way for leaders to be able to scale their company without having to do all of this HR stuff, which can be very time consuming. So I kind of created CloudTask to almost fix a problem that I had. Hey, is this John? John, hey, it's Amir Reiter, the CEO of CloudTask on the recorded line. My apologies for the random call. Do you have a few seconds for me to let you know why I was calling? No problem. You're JM McCara at mortgageflex.com. Is it okay if I give you a quick email and maybe follow up with you later? All right. Is this your cell? Maybe it's easier to SMS you. Don't sweat it, John. I'll let you go and I'll give you an email. You're busy, but I appreciate you chatting. See ya. Yeah, and I'm not going to force something on somebody when they politely say that they're busy. So could have probably tried being a little bit more aggressive, but right now, if I call someone back like this later on, he'll be much nicer because I didn't push anything down his throat. So I'll call him back later. What was his name? His name was
John McCree.
John McCree. Okay, let me write that down.
MCCREA.
Call. How do you spell it? John MC.
MCCREA. REA.
So what I'll do is I'll call him like 5 minutes before the competition ends, because that's a quick one. Hey, I caught you like 45 minutes ago. You're busy, and I'll just get into it. Oh man, it's not dialing. Oh no, how do I get out of this?
You gotta finish that in disposition.
All right.
I guess.
Okay, come on. Get me back dialing. All right. What am I missing here? It isn't that showing me. It's not giving me a chance to close it.
It's working.
Just give me. Oh, there you go. All right, bam.
Click the pause button. Oh, now you paused.
18 dials, one conversation. All right.
So these are all verified numbers?
No, I don't even know what this is. We're growing so fast right now that I brought a list that it's kind of old, but it'll be fine. I think they might be verified. We'll see.
Now, does you and your team, anybody on your team usually use a pad dialer like this, or?
Yeah, we definitely use call acceleration services like Connect and Sell and others. Some will do that are talented. Ideally, I can't get into too much details, but let's just say that the concept of accurate data and accelerating an accurate process is something that we're working on cracking the code in the long term from a company standpoint. But yeah, this is, good data, the right people, and connect and sell works real well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Amir, I mean, personally, I've always been a fan of these new techs, just to speed, strengthen basically what we can do as reps, like, I mean, I grew up in the days of, I ran a whole sales team on index cards. We didn't have CRM. We were building CRMs back then. So the idea that now you can accelerate all the minuscule tasks that bog every, sales rep down with a tool like this, and the accurate data is the critical component. It's like,
well, it's a good point you bring up, right? There's a balance between efficiency and effectiveness, right?
Sure.
So, we look at efficiency being tools, right? Like you don't no longer need to dial. That's efficiency. Effectiveness,
Right.
believe it or not, is a lot to do with targeting. So I think we live in a world where there's a lot of efficiency tools out there, but from an effectiveness standpoint, finding the right people, like this list that I think I'm calling right now, is people that have evidence of outsourcing. So if you take the time to find somebody that is either an active buyer or somebody that could be an active buyer, in your right ICP, it's gonna allow you to scale your company a lot faster. So if you have the wrong data, you're calling the wrong people, and you have these tools, you'll get a lot more of the wrong customers, and it'll hold you back from growth. So it's kind of an irony in that way.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because yesterday we were talking, and I think you're kind of touching on this, is more of enrichment. It's great to have the same, it's not always a title that makes that person a relevant customer for you. It could be, it's all about timing and relevance. So if you're looking at a company, that has evidence of outsourcing, they're familiar with the model, they're a higher value target than, maybe just somebody who's VP of sales at a, 50 to 100 person company, et cetera. So
well, you don't have to convince them why outsourcing is right. They've been doing it for years. So you just have to kind of say, is there anything that is working well, any pain points around that, or even, I'm like, the nature of revenue, and this is specific for us, is that you always need more of it, right? So it's like kind of like human consumption, right? So you're going to always, if you need 100 million in pipeline at a 10% closing rate to get 10 million in new business, if your closing rate stays the same to go from 10 to 20 million, you're going to have to double that pipeline. So it's like people forget to say that you're always going to have to double pipeline, really. If you're looking to grow a company that might get IPO, VC, right? We're looking at 100% or 30% monthly growth rates. You can't get those growth rates without consistent qualified meetings. You just can't, right?
Right.
So it's not a this or that. It's not a replacement, right?
Sure. Yeah. Plug it in and multiply your efforts.
It's going to have to come from somewhere, right? That curve. So it's a lot of times people don't, it's a trust factor, obviously,
Sure.
But internal, external, outsourcing, those words will really go away. And it's really just a matter of, I think you mentioned Justin Michaels, I commented his thing on his show, and I work with his consulting agency.
Sure.
And he does calling for CloudTask, potentially 30 minutes a day, tops, something like that, an hour. And you could consider that an outsourced sales, right? It's the same thing. And he's generated revenue and tremendous amount of pipeline that's measurable. So, and it wasn't a function of time, and his engagement with us not being a W-2 has no difference to me when I'm helping clients. So we have 40 dials done. It's dialing kind of slow, I think. I probably would have dialed more already. All right, hold on a second.
So you guys are employing more than just this platform as far as dialers, or is it just more of like over the years you've tested different ones?
No comment.
Okay. No problem. I get it. So no, listen,
after the competition, I'll tell you everything.
Yeah. So no, I mean, just for the people who are watching, there's a lot of, young and probably either new reps or even leaders out there that are watching. And of course, for new reps, it's, seeing kind of, maybe your style on the phone. But as far as the tech is concerned, I just, I'm always fascinated because again, I came from a time when there was no tech. Tech stack, SaaS didn't even exist. So, I said this the other day. It's like I don't have Connect to Sell personally, but I just employed initially a speed dialer, through Salesforce, and it's like doubled my productivity. Of course, the data, I've been enriching and stacking up over the years, so it's pretty good data. But when I even implemented Seamless, I mean, it was like a game changer, to get cell phone numbers. So I'm just a sort of an expression of where the where the industry
Oh,
is
no,
going.
I have a lot to talk about that. I could talk about that forever.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
This is not my tool set that you see.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
This is not, no.
I don't imagine today, after so many years of working on this business, that you still make cold calls. I imagine you're working on higher level types of initiatives.
Well, I do and don't, right? I test the tools we're making. It's not that I don't. I like to cold call billion-dollar CEOs and ask for mentorships. And our happiest clients are seven-figure clients. So if you do the math, me cold calling actually has a really high ROI. So based on our lifetime value of our clients, calling seven-figure deals is worth my time. Fortunately, I have a huge, strong team. A new chief revenue officer, his name is Tony Dix, new chief people officer, Angelina Chala. So fortunately, they're allowing me to work more in podcast branding, media, and making more connections, which is great, which is more of a modern CEO. And then obviously we are working on our platform, which is going to be really accelerating sales. But yeah, this is, I got 52 dials, one conversation. I'm just doing something on the side just to get some, get some conversations, because this is not going to be a fun competition unless I can talk to people. So I'm going to be uploading something and I'll call it again. These companies are here. I think a strategic list. I think these are all enterprises, which is the seven-figure deals that I want. So
SAP,
it might be a less pickups.
Capgemini.
Yeah,
for sure. I see some big names there.
Dials. Oh, that's okay. I could get a smaller listing right now.
No, I appreciate you coming on, man, and doing this. You're absolutely right. Modern day CEO, CEOs who are watching, definitely take note. I mean, if you have the capacity to offload the company's, the things that you're doing to advance the company, whether a platform or otherwise, but you could be out there really being the face, being the marketer, meeting people, virtually shaking hands with the billion-dollar CEOs.
Also learning, and also learning what real challenges are. I mean, that's kind of all that matters in this world. If we can't fix someone's problem, it's not what I think, right? Like the word you said, like, hey, Amir, you do outsource sales. Like, I don't really do outsource sales. That's like the back. That's just the description of how my service could be deployed. But I build qualified meetings so that people can beat forecasts, right? So just focusing on like, hey, this is my problem, right? Like I'm getting X closing rate on these deals. Everything's just math, especially in sales. So like you look in that front office, you can find out what's really happening and the problem that you really solve, right? But for me, there's already, if you look at, let's say there is, do the math, let's say there's 65,000 SDRs in America, and let's say $60,000 salary a year. There's already, 3 trillion, what is it thinking, 3 billion of money being spent building pipeline, right? So, to get to my goal, right, which is a lot even less than that, it's 1% of the market, right? So I'm focusing on fixing one problem, doing it. Yeah. But hopefully we'll get some pickups. It's 9:16 in the morning. People just woke up. This is the interesting thing too, right? Like this is a cold calling competition. Right now I have 3 monitors. I'm likely to actually email someone, LinkedIn, Instagram them, and get meetings literally while it's dialing, right? So like, and I'm actually booking meetings on Instagram. It's kind of funny. You could see like this is my Instagram. I booked this is like one of my mentors, Dave Cancel from Drift, and like, I had a meeting with him to come. It's a podcast meeting, but it just goes to show you, like, even, I'm on the channel. Doesn't have to be a phone call. Just be the right person with the right message that has context. We got 74 dials in 17 minutes, which is not bad. All right.
I think when somebody can get used to the system, and then even though there's like at certain times of the day, that's when you pepper in all the other stuff that you're saying on your other screen, like your email.
It's not even certain times of the day. I'm doing it at the same time. I like that person who picked up, whose name was the guy was, what's his name? You told me John something. Let me see. Yeah, John McCree. I could be on LinkedIn. I could be on Instagram right now. I mean, not Instagram, on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah,
I go as far as even adding people on adding people on all channels these days. McCree.
Hey, listen, man, I barely used Twitter and Instagram up until a couple of months ago, but I think it's your market. You go where your customer is, where they want to communicate with you, or if you have, the other side, which would be friends or colleagues or mentors and coaches, sure, wherever they're communicating with you. It's interesting. Yesterday we had a call, and the guy was like, immediately was like, look, man, text me. And I think that was a great pull on Zeke's, but it's like,
I text everybody.
Yeah.
Text is the best. Yeah, you'll see when I talk to somebody. I did in the last call. It wasn't a SMS, but I have texting software. I use Sales Message. I text right from HubSpot, and I can text on my phone. And there's
it's it's good when you actually have the when you have the cell phone number. Obviously, if you don't have that,
well, that's why we do the human research. I didn't upload cell phone numbers, so like this was research from my team. But because Connecting Cell only has phone 1 and phone 2, I wasn't able to upload phone 3, which is mobile.
Sure.
But you get to hear this is me actually texting a prospect, and the prospect actually goes, texting is my favorite channel. And he starts asking me what I'm doing for texting, right? So right off the bat, I'm actually building trust by using the tools that we would use on their behalf to get them pipeline.
Well, that's good. It builds the story around what you're doing. People relate to that quicker, and certainly than saying, "Oh, we just did this, and this is how much money we brought in for that customer." Like, you're telling them a story.
Yeah, well, they're almost experiencing the process. Like me trying to generate an opportunity with them is the same process that I want them to hire us to do. This is it, right? And I'm the channel approach, reaching out and booking up a time to see if we can be a good fit, and they get to experience it. So using the on the channel, I'm like, we also have this year. We have $100,000 budget with Reach Desk where we have a lot of things to send. Because like I said, we run an account-based sales program here, and our LTV is high, so it's worth us sending stuff. Let's see, I got 94 calls. All right.
Have you ever considered opening a shop in America, or is Medellin your thing now?
Hey, Dimitri. Sure. I'll get a list. I'll stop with the referral thing. All right. I might switch.
Just a note for the people out there, 100 dials inside of less than 20 minutes. I don't think any human can do that. Those of you who are joining us late, this is Amir Reiter from CloudTask on the Cold Calling Knockout, brought to you by Rev Garage, Rev Genius, Revenue Grid, the Sales Boards, Lead IQ, and Connect and Sell. Yeah, so yesterday Zeke kind of got off of it. He really wasn't comfortable with this platform. It wasn't working. I mean, he had like 100 dials and only one connect the same. So he was a little technically challenged, but then he jumped off.
Yeah, I'm a few seconds away from making a little bit of a audible. Something I'm a little bit more comfortable with.
Yeah, I appreciate you getting up early and doing this. Is it Eastern
I
Standard
get up early,
Time?
I get up early every day.
No, I know. I just not to debase.
But
You're a really good sport. I think, it's funny
no,
how people.
I I like building pipeline. I built a company about building pipelines. This is not a good sport. It's not. This is a pleasure for me.
Great.
Not a,
That's exactly what we want to like get people to understand that, making calls isn't really as scary as people make it out to be. I think a lot of what people think is more just projecting their own insecurities on.
I'm scared of not making the call, to be honest, because if I don't make the call, then I'm not going to have the opportunity. So I fear that more than I do fear making a call. And
Well,
I,
that's a healthy.
if I,
That's a healthy.
I guess it's the reality. There's
Yeah.
nothing in this world that is perfection is success, failure is success. So it's just kind of like wake up. Like anybody who's ever invented something has been through failure. Some of our biggest technology advances have been through war, right? So it's like we don't live in this world where everything's perfect and you pick up the phone and everyone's pleasant to you. And if somebody doesn't want to do business with you, not a big deal, right? I think it's worse.
Exactly.
It's not a big. This just isn't. So I'm gonna just give me a second. I'm gonna give a little bit of.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, the worst is when and this is what I tell them, I've been on coaching sessions with people who literally have told me they're scared to even pick up the phone. I ask them why, we go through this whole thing, and what tends to happen is that
Do you
they
mind
just
giving me
don't.
1 second? I'm just listening to a code. Hold on a second.
Okay. You can mute me out.
Just 1 second.
You changing out the list?
No, I'm yeah, just changing something out. Sorry, I'm just trying to focus on it. Great. Now I have an issue.
Well, so far you've got 85 people watching, just so you
Yay, with no dialing.
know.
Now I got a technical issue with my other software. That's great. Come on.
Like I
All
said,
right, you know what?
112.
Let me call some SDR managers. Let's see what they have to say.
All right. We do have an SDR leader in the competition coming up at the end of the
Hey,
week, Gabriel Blackwell.
That sucks. All right.
Just want to let everybody know that connect and sell 112 dials inside of 25 minutes. No human can do that. Amazing. Of course, timing, as we always talk about. Connect and sell. Lead IQ, the data, very important. Lead IQ.
I'm jumping off this for a second because it's messing me up. I'm coming back on.
No worries. You messed up Justin the other day by doing role plays with him. So yeah, we'll get Amir back in a minute. Anybody out there watching that wants to do live cold calls, we're going to be doing more of these. So definitely get in touch with us. Ping me or String Win. Go to revenuegarage.com to get the listing of the next events. Stay tuned there. Check us out for a cold call knockout after party on Clubhouse. I'll be hosting that this week as well. And we're bringing Amir back in.
I'm back. Yeah, it was Zoom. I figured Zoom was the issue. Share my screen. All right. I think you guys can hear it. Well, Baby, you can't. Hold on. Share one more time. Sound. Share sound. All right, let me get back to dialing, guys.
Dialing.
All right, so I just switched off the enterprise companies just so we can get a little bit of faster action.
You got 35 minutes, so.
Hey, Nathan.
Yep.
Hello, is this Nathan?
Yeah, this is him. How's it going?
Yeah, I
Dialing
can't.
is paused.
Yeah, so I connected with somebody, but I can't hear with Zoom at the same time.
You couldn't hear him? Because
No, it's not letting me hear at the same time. It sucks. All right. Yeah, that's a problem. Let me see something.
Yeah, the other day we were on with Jerry and we couldn't hear the other side of the conversation, but we can hear him clear. And he was able to mute me out of his headset if he needed to. So like you couldn't hear me, but everybody could hear you. So no, like that's how it was.
Yeah, it is what it is.
To join the waiting
Yeah, that's
room,
fine.
type the following code into your browser. 7 4 6 1 0
Yeah,
3.
could you mute yourself for a
Press the
second just to see
repeat
if
code
it
button
helps?
to
'Cause it's
replay the code.
frustrating. I'd rather have some calls versus commentary.
To join the waiting room, type the following code into your browser. 7 4 6
You know what? Let me see if I could just import this here. Yeah, this is why, guys, whenever you do a competition, don't ever let anybody force you to use their technology. Just say no. Just be like, I'm going to use my own stuff. We would have been rocking and rolling.
No excuses.
I know, I'm just fucking pissed. Sorry.
It's all right, man. We do have sponsors, so. I like how you can choose the numbers, which numbers to import. And you can import multiple. That's cool. And it'll dial both or all three.
Yeah, they'll dial whichever ones you put into connection cell. They'll dial it.
Oh, I thought you could put the multiple ones in. That's why for each contact.
All right, let's see if we have better luck on this list.
Oh, wow. I see. It's interesting. You can set all these things like how many times you want it to call that same number per day. Very cool. It would be cool if you could set up the times for that too. Like, although that's pretty awesome.
Sure you can. know. All right, let's see if we get some connects.
We're off. So upwards of 5 at a time. It doesn't go to 10, I guess, huh?
I don't really know much about connecting cell.
Hmm.
I
Still
don't know.
fast. Still super fast. I mean, can't build any pipeline without any conversations.
Yeah, no, I know.
So what's next for CloudTask? I mean, any future kind of add-on type of stuff, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, we have a platform that's launching.
Awesome.
So there's a lot that's next for CloudTask for sure. But it's also going to be based on just getting simpler and focusing on qualified pipeline, not even just pipeline, right? The word pipeline is vague. It'd be a waste
Sure.
of time if it's not qualified. So just really using first-party intent data like Google and Facebook to know when someone's picking up, what they want, what their personality type is. Just really giving reps an advantage to actually finding problems that they can help faster. So that's everything. That's what's next. Just kind of using data and accelerating tools just to get results faster, which is exciting. And that's going to be live pretty quickly. But I almost want to show you if I can bring it up. Hold on.
We'll save it to the end. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you can, even as a young new rep, you can.
This is the platform that's going live, our data and everything. So it's going to be exciting.
Cool.
Let's see. So we had 2 conversations. Even the number's not bad. Obviously, we have an hour to do it, but the 8-hour day, you'll get 6 or 7 meetings. I would be hard pressed to see that someone's not going to pick up, but you never know.
Now I know you can see, you can probably manage those columns, but are you calling any particular state? I see 917s.
No,
Those are New
I'm
York.
I'm just calling right now SDR managers. I just had a list of two. I actually invited these people to watch the show. So
All right, yeah. So you don't break it out so that you can see by state. So that's the way it's not 5:30 in the morning in California versus 8 here, 9 here. It's 9:30 here. So
yeah, I did not break this out to state just because I didn't know the time of the competition was so early, and yeah, that was probably.
I appreciate that, but you would normally do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just common sense.
Inactive off business hours. So no off business hours.
Wow, it automatically tells you that. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Based on where they are in the country. So if it's not 9 to 5, although that's a bit self-explanatory considering the fact that you might be able to reach an executive before the hour 9 and after 5. So
Let's see. Yeah, if this list doesn't get anything, then I'll change it up to again. One more time, we'll find. I don't have lists in here ready to go. So if I put mobile numbers, we'll have conversations. But usually it's working. Usually we'll have more conversations. This is just a switch platforms and lists. So it's not necessarily giving us what we want.
Well, you know.
Let me think of mobile. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Jamie, how's it going? It's Amir Reiter, the CEO of CloudTask on the recorded line. Do you have a few seconds for me to tell you why I was calling? Amir Reiter with CloudTask. It's CloudTask. Yeah, I just wanted to be super direct. I know that you were the vice president of operations, and I thought maybe there'd be some context for us to chat about building opportunities in pipeline based on some of the things that we've done in the past. So I thought maybe I'd call to introduce myself and see if building pipeline was something that actually was on your mind in the moment. Qualified buyers, like similar to just building pipeline for your account executives so you can beat forecast. Like, are you currently managing a sales team, or so you're primarily in operations? Okay, if you don't mind me asking, who do you think the best person is to talk to when it comes to talking about just building pipeline? No, of course, you guys are carrier.com. Now you're publicly traded. I understand. I'm like to every quarter you guys are forecasting pipeline. So I think you guys are constantly growing sales. Do you think there's a person that, I don't have to say you referred me, but just maybe you point me in the right direction that I could just email? Anyone? No. Of course. Anyone you think I should start with? Maybe like just someone that comes off top of mind. Give them a quick message. Okay. No, Jamie, don't worry at all, man. I appreciate your time. Thanks. Bye-bye. All right.
Yeah, so Amir, that happened to be it's actually one of my customers myself. Carrier is one of the largest HVAC manufacturers. They make like ductwork and air conditioning systems and stuff like that. So, but yeah, operations would be somebody who like either runs the floor of the plant or like the field guys, the guys out in the field doing installs. But he should know who his VP of sales is. So that was a bit of a cop out. I mean, I could just tell what he was when you had to go and like re-ask it and say, "Oh, I'm not going to say who you are. It's from you or whatever." It's like, I know he's hesitating. Don't even have to hear it. I can get you the answer though if you want.
Nah, it's all good.
I'm sure.
The one thing I don't need at CloudTask right now is more pipeline. Actually, we do not need more pipeline. You know why? Because we never stop prospecting. So when you never stop prospecting, you don't need pipeline.
I learned a long time ago from a very one of my mentors was that having work already given to you or PO'd to you and not having a lot like everybody to do it is a really good problem to have. So yeah, if you got business coming in, you don't have to worry.
See.
Yeah, so Chris Watson up next at 10 o'clock. You got another 18 minutes, Amir. And that should be another good match from the storyteller himself. I'm a big fan of, the story, like, especially when you talk about how.
Hey, Jeff. Is this Jeff? Hey, Jeff, how's it going? It's Amir Reiter, the CEO of CloudTask, going to record a line. How are you doing today? Amir Reiter, the CEO of CloudTask. We've never met before, but I actually took a look at your site and I thought I'd reach out, give you a call because I know you're the the COO. I know that you guys have a lot on your plate, but I thought maybe it'd be worth a discussion about generating revenue. I know you're in the cannabis software industry, and we did about 70 million recurring for SaaS companies in 24 months. I thought maybe it would be worth you and I chatting. It's CloudTask. Yep, CloudTask. Yeah. Yeah, and I know the space you're in pretty well. I know BioTrack, THC, they're a leader, but I know they're not in the HR side of things like you are. But yeah, I thought it'd be worth. I know this is a out of the blue call. I could talk now, or we could set something up. But I have about 200 SDRs under management, a bunch of data, and a nice track record of driving revenue for SaaS companies. So I thought it would make sense, especially also in the HR space. Yeah, is your email jeff.imm@enjoywork.com? How about this? Why don't I send you just a proposed time for like 15 minutes for us to chat, and let me know if that time works for you. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. No. Why don't I send this like 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out? And I'll send you an email before. I'll let you know what we did in the HR space. You. Okay. All right, man. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. I'll follow up with this guy.
Good way to good little push him just as far as he was willing to go. So.
Well, the thing is, I want to go for the meeting on the phone, but like I hit people up right away on LinkedIn and email. And we'll get them off after. So. Sure. I'll probably convert that to a meeting because I do actually know the space.
Did he sprain his ankle, or did somebody die in his family? Someone
died, but that doesn't change the fact that it needs pipeline. And I didn't want to say that, but
no, absolutely not. But it's just, you could just, obviously the change in tone of your voice is what I'm pointing out, so you can tell.
Yeah, match it. Let me pull them up.
You gave him a little bit of empathy for a second, and then it was like, hey, listen, we should just talk anyway.
I should have asked him. I should have been like, are you guys currently beating forecasts? Like I didn't ask him really anybody's pain points, and he's a chief operating officer, so it's not a perfect persona for us. But
sure. Well, something, Amir, and personally, I would think that question is a great leading question. That would be maybe my first question. No?
Yeah, no, and it should. I'll try it this time. Just ask them, like, out of curiosity, are you tracking above forecast when it comes to building up, your pipeline for your AEs to beat forecast? And that's all it comes down to. Like, you either are beating it, and then you might want to consider raising your forecast because maybe it wasn't set high enough, or if you're on track for it, well, what happens if you fall under track, right? What happens if you fall behind it? So these are questions to ask, because we're never telling people that we're better or we're literally, like, all revenue is not the same, right? So it's never a replacement. See if we can get another conversation. I know we have 15 minutes.
Yeah. Do you typically, I know you said before, some of the filtering of, like, knowing that these people have outsourced before, et cetera, but do you ever look at numbers like, for example, like, let's say maybe it's G2 Crowd or whatever, where they'll list like what the revenue was last quarter, this past year, or last year's this quarter. So this way, maybe pull that into your conversation.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing now, finding people who, like, if you look at, like, I'll show you, especially as we're moving upstream, it's now a matter of, what's the pain point behind not hitting forecast? If you're a publicly traded company, it's losing hundreds of millions of dollars of valuation, right? So if you miss, like, this is Beyond Bread, for instance. Right. So right here, you can see, like, missed earnings, right? Missed earnings by a lot, right? By 3 cents. Sure. So this is a compelling event. Like, can't notice. Why do you miss earnings? You miss earnings because your pipeline is not forecasted correctly. You didn't achieve enough pipeline at the correct conversion rate. Something was off, right? Mm-hmm. This would be very specific. Like, hey, like, noticed you missed pipeline. I was wondering, was this because the forecast wasn't, the pipeline that you built wasn't enough to beat forecast? And this is a clear pain point, right? So
Yeah.
100%, and you could see what happened to that stock. I'm like, it went down. It went up now recently, but it lost because of missing forecast. It lost. This was probably back here. It lost a lot of money, right? So
Yeah. So I want the people who are watching to understand that this is what, I would define as relevant information, not personalized, but relevant to that company, relative to that person. Getting information that's not, oh, well, he went to Yale University. Who gives a shit, right? This is where
no,
it's at.
this is
Using
why if I'm
information
talking
like
to a
that.
revenue leader, someone got in trouble for this. All right, there's a pain for this. Investors lost
Somebody got fired.
valuation, right? So you don't have to ask. It's like I know that missing forecast is a pain point. Not saying that we're the answer, but maybe we could be. Maybe it's worth the conversation. That's relevance.
Yeah. So like I'm approaching a customer in a big retail customer right now, and I noticed that last year quarter two they had their best quarter two in the entire history of the company, over 100 years. So my email after multiple calls of not being able to get this person touched on that. Hey, how are you going to beat Q2's last year since it was the best of your year? Just illuminating the fact that, maybe something like this that we do could potentially help give you some lift. It wasn't like, oh, we do this for 1 million companies, but I noticed last year your Q2 was the best ever. What are you guys doing this year to actually beat that again? So again, relevance, very important.
It's always important for sure. See, this for calling. So we have 175 dials. A lot of dials.
175
so yeah,
dials.
At the same time, the one thing you brought up is just the time of the day. It's 9 a.m, so I have no idea how much of this is 7, 8 there in the morning.
Sure.
I think Friday afternoon is usually the best. A lot of the experiments that we've done, show that even off hours work even better in afternoons.
Oh yeah, well, that's what I was getting
get
at
somebody
before. After the hour, after 5.
Yeah, it's better. Like if you look at me, someone like me, like I'm working on a full schedule. So if someone calls me, I'm immediately just like text me, right?
So are you a typical CEO? I mean, you're really working 6 o'clock in the morning until you go to bed?
Yeah, kind of. Not fully. Kind of.
What
Close.
does
I would say 6 to 6. And then at night, I'll definitely. I hike. I definitely listen to podcasts sometimes. I cold call people.
Justin says you like to test drive vehicles, test drive cars.
Yeah, I like cars. Typical guy. Most things too. 179 dials. Come on.
What's the weather like down in there? Is it hot? Really hot?
That's spring all the time around. You can see the sun in the back. It's just springtime permanently. So it's permanently like June in New York.
I love it.
65 to 82 every day.
Do you split your time a lot, or are you more in Miami? I think you live in Miami, right? Also.
Yeah. I split my time. I'm like COVID kept me more in Miami. That's when I went back, but now I like it here. I like being in the office here. It's a team. So I like both. It's a 3-hour flight, so it's not really.
Yeah.
It's the same day type thing.
What do you think about the whole idea people are talking about that Miami is going to be the new like San Francisco?
I think it will. Yeah, it's much nicer, more fun, and you can work in the cloud. Yeah, I when I went to San Francisco just to work and then I would just leave. So yeah, I think it's well overdue.
Somebody was mentioning Boise, Idaho, and St. Louis as being 2 other unique potential tech hubs.
That sounds kind of cold.
Boise for sure.
I'm a big believer that like weather can influence happiness and serotonin. So like I think if you have a choice to live in nice weather, you should probably, like my parents moved from New York to Miami and they got younger. They like reverse aged them. So I grew up in New York where it was cold. I think cold is cool when you're snowboarding and stuff like that. But yeah, I think if you have a choice, Miami, I think Miami is the best, especially with taxes. California comes in second from my standpoint, but cost of living is really high. So 189, I have 189 dials. So we definitely dialed a lot.
Yeah.
Not available ways to know 100, band number 14. Guys, I'm sorry for everyone watching for not having enough conversations.
That's okay.
Usually.
Yeah, so I grew up in New York. I grew up learning that you go to Florida eventually. I'm a Jewish boy from Staten Island, so
Yeah,
it was like you go to Florida. But what's
you do.
interesting is that you don't go to Florida. Like what we were taught when we were young is you go to Florida when you're old. And then like a dozen of so of my friends moved to Florida right after college, and I started to think to myself, my God, that's the way to do it, because who wants
It
to
is.
be dead in Florida? Why don't you go down there and enjoy it?
Nah, you want to. It's
I
great.
think
I
I
grew up
just
in New York.
started.
I thought it was awesome.
I started a new company recently with a friend of mine, and he's in Delray Beach in Florida, which is actually where my parents used to have a home back in the day. And I definitely have made a promise that before my kid, either when my kid goes to school, he's only 6 years old now, or within the next, by 2030, minimally, I'll be in Florida. That's my goal.
Well, you got to come down. Where are you now?
I'm in Jersey.
Yeah, come down now to Miami.
Yeah.
You like it. The prices are going up. That's the problem. Everyone's moving.
Yeah, I'll come down as before, and then it'll be like this house. I bought this house in New Jersey in 2006. Bought it in 2006, and a year later, it was worth like 100,000 less than what I paid for it. And finally, now I think after 15 years, even with the market, I am above the water now, so to speak. So my opportunity or chances to move are much greater than they were, a few years ago. So
So you
yeah.
need a compelling event.
Well, the funny thing is that when I was down there visiting my friend in November, I have a morning coffee call with a bunch of people from all over the country, a couple from Florida and so on. And they said to me, when I had come back to New York the following week and got on the call, they said, "You looked much happier when you were in Florida." I was like, I was, because it's warm there. So yeah, man, the weather definitely the serotonin definitely breeds, just a better feeling. I don't know. Like I feel like shit when it's snowing and raining. And
You can just get on a plane and go to Colorado for the snow and to the mountains. So we have 5 minutes
Exactly.
left. Are we going to get a pickup? Oh no, is it dialing? I think it dialed it all.
It's not green. If it's not green, it's not dialing.
Uh,
So listen, Zeke picked up 2 meetings in the last 15 minutes of his call session yesterday.
I'm dialing back in.
Again,
I'm going till the end. 6.
we'll push it a little bit. We pushed a little bit after the hours. So, but we do have Chris Watson coming in at 10. So I appreciate you spending the time with us. It's great getting to know you, Amir. Listen, I heard a lot about you. And I would like to think you heard a lot about me, but Justin doesn't talk enough about me. I'm just
Not
kidding.
yet, but now I know.
But it's no, it was great sharing this session with you. And I believe in what you guys are doing. I'm a big believer in pipeline. I've been building pipeline for 26 years, so totally appreciate it. And yeah, I mean,
Let's see. We got 4 more minutes. Let's see what we got.
You got something up your sleeve, I know. Oh wait, no, we're gonna call that other guy back, the first guy.
Oh yeah, what's his name? John something?
John McCree.
I don't know. Do you know his last name?
Yeah, I'll pull it for you. Hold on. MCCREA.
Okay. MCCREA. All right.
I think that was it. Okay. Sugar CRM.
It was a mortgage company.
Oh.
We'll figure it out. All right, 4 minutes. So John McCree. John. Oh man.
Amplify. There's a lot of John McCrees.
I know. As I'm trying to find on my list. I'm looking through it. Hey, this is Philip. Philip, hey, how are you? It's Amir Reiter, the CEO of CloudTask. I was calling on a recorded line. Do you have a few seconds for me to tell you why I was calling? Yeah. Yeah, don't sweat it. I had a question for you. I was wondering if you were in charge at Disco of building, pipeline and sales to beat your forecast. Cool. That's kind of what I do as the CEO of CloudTask. I have about like 300 employee workforce. We've been building pipeline for a lot of technology companies. So I thought maybe a conversation between us would make time. So I thought I'd give you a call. Does this sound like something that we could chat about? 15 minutes? Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. But I had a question. Like, if you look at you have internal resources, you're on track, but you probably might not have a backup plan if you fall behind plan. And you seem like a smart guy who knows sales. If we were to meet and I were to tell you exactly what we did, I think it might just be a benefit for you where it could be a lever that you might pull in the future because as you know, pipeline needs keep growing. Every year you need more and more pipeline. So I'm not saying we're the right fit, but I'm saying based on the 70 million we did in 24 months, maybe we could be a good fit. Maybe it's worth 15 minutes of us chatting. So I think the ask here is just a proper meeting for 10 minutes where we can, see each other eye to eye. Love it. That's great. And is your email Demetrio at csdisco.eu? So I'll send you a proposed invite for like later in the week afternoon. Let me know if it works, and then we'll chat. And then the worst case scenario, we'll be friends. Appreciate it. Thank you, man. Looking forward to meeting you. Take care. Bye.
There you go, brother.
Well, that's why you don't give up.
Yeah, I'll give it to you for sure.
I was one there before.
I think the I mean, we haven't had a lot of tells, like you haven't had a lot of calls, but I like the approach, hey, when you got
as soon as I talked about pipeline and then he was, and then at the same time, like he basically was like, we have it covered. And I was like, well, that's exactly it. This is just a backup plan, and I kind of like making them aware because that's the goal, right? The goal is just like, hey, we're here in case you need us. And someone could be like, we need you right now, or we never need you, or I have a friend who needs you. But immediately it's always, and I just kind of let him know that like, hey, maybe we're not the right fit, but the meeting will be worth your time. But you will take that meeting.
Yeah, it's like it's almost a little version of the takeaway in a way. Like you're saying, look, there's really no obligation on your part. And I love the end. At the very least, we can part being friends. Yeah,
it's true though. You have no idea how many business we refer each other's way.
Sure.
We're becoming, that's the intent we have. We're starting knowing who does what, when, where. So we have the ability to kind of make these introductions all the time.
I do want to point out, I noticed your body language, and it's interesting. Most people do express the same body language when certain things on a call go not the way they wanted. I could tell he was sort of pushing back, giving you a little bit of excuse, your shoulders rounded out. But then as soon as you kind of upped your tone a little bit and you got on that same kind of level, your shoulders curled back, and it's amazing how body and posture plays a role.
No, it really does. And he was polite. Like I would have said the same thing, right? Like his answer was actually very polite. It was very respectful, right? So like, at the end of the day, what he was saying was like, hey man, you just called me. Like, I really don't know you. I got something going on. Like, like kind of valuable. That's kind of what he was saying to me. And I was like, I agree with you.
Yeah, because everybody has something going on. That's what I was just saying. Like, it was like one of those things you've heard a million times, and you're just waiting for.
Hey, David. David. Hey, how's it going? It's Amir Reiter, the CEO of CloudTask. I was calling on a recorded line. Do you have a few seconds for me to tell you why I was calling? It'll be super quick, like 3 seconds, if you have. Yeah, no. Like I know you're VP Marketing BlackBerry. I work for Ring Central, Vonage, and a few other publicly traded companies. I have a big army of sales reps with intent data on phone technology. So I thought a meeting between you and I could make sense just based off the revenue we've generated in the space. So that's kind of why I was calling. Okay, but you're building. I trade your stock on the stock market. You're building pipeline, and you're like you just crushed your forecast, which is awesome. You're forecasting and reporting results quarterly, right, on the stock market. Okay, no, I was just talking about pipeline. Okay, so there's no VP of marketing, no interest in talking about pipeline with the CEO of a company with a big army. Just doesn't, no context. That's fine. I thought it would be. Do you mind if I email you?
Ooh.
All right. It's dweisman@blackberry.com. It's dweisman@blackberry.com. All right, so I'll send you an email because I know this call is out of the blue and there's like not a face to the name. And then I'll just follow up the email. And if it makes sense to talk about pipeline in the future, we can chat about it. And I appreciate your time. All right, see you. All right.
Who's in charge of the pipeline? He's obviously not. You didn't ask.
I did not. You're right. Yeah, no, I did not ask. When I connect with people like that, I like to then email them because I know they get to they're like, okay, that was the guy who was calling me, and then they could look at my website, and then I typically call back. That's just my style because I know I follow up like really well. But going for the kill, I would want to ask more of those questions.
No, I appreciate that. I was just thinking in the mirror that he was not the guy because he kept saying no.
No, he might not be the guy, but as a VP of marketing, he cares about pipeline. He's just not the guy who wants to talk to people because he wants to pay Google and Facebook, and that's a marketer persona. Marketer personas don't want to talk to people.
Yeah, I get
they want their reps to follow up their MQLs right away. So I could have pulled on that a little bit, but I could email them and say that,
yeah, of course.
But anyways, so
I think the lesson is that you parted without confrontation and that he was open to accepting your email. You even confirmed where it was coming from. So yeah, he'll give you the lead, the referral next time.
Yeah, I'm like, even now, like, that's probably a cell
sense.
phone number. That was a cell phone number. So I probably would text him on my phone. Be like, hey, this is Amir. Here's my link. Sorry for bothering you.
The other thing, I'm sorry, about a guy like that, he's sitting in a meeting with the VP of sales. And if they're talking about pipeline in that meeting, you can make him look like a champion by him saying, hey, I just got a call from this guy from CloudTask that can help us with that.
No, 100%. This is like the first step of awareness. You never heard of CloudTask before. Now we heard the name. Right. So it's going to be, nurturing him for quite some time. But I think we have to let Chris go. This is 10 to 5. I have that one meeting. But Paul. Is Paul? Paul, hey, what's going on, man? It's Amir Reiter, the CEO of CloudTask. I was on a recorded line. Just need to let you know that. But I was calling to see if you have a few seconds for me to tell you why I was calling and just be direct. Okay. Paul's not interested.
Not interested?
I'll text him.
All right. Well, listen, great stuff, man. I got to wrap this up, but I just wanted to let everybody know. Thanks for joining Amir Reiter out of his day. CloudTask, look him up. CloudTask, is it cloudtest.com, Amir?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cloudtest.com. And thank you again to our sponsors, CloudTask, Connect and Sell, Lead IQ, Rev Grid, Revenue Garage, Rev Genius, Jared and the crew, and the sales boards. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for Chris Watson.
See you guys.
Do we got Chris coming in, or